Anupam Stoyanovich, New York. Question. I would like to ask a question which is important for sadhana, for my sadhana. What is the importance of Mauna, silence, and how to practice Mauna in daily life with gratitude? Anupam Stoyanovich. Silence is as important as it is breath to be taken by a human living body. You cannot survive without breathing in. Similarly, if you don't know the joy of being in silence, then actually you are not a spiritual aspirant. If I would define who is a spiritual aspirant, in Hindi we call a sadhak, then this is the person who enjoys one's solitude, who wishes to be in that solitude. Even if he or she has to go in society, in bazaar, in market, in downtown, even then, amidst all those thousands and hundreds of people, deep down in heart is still totally alone, and remind you is not lonely, but is so fulfilled and satisfied in that aloneness. So Mauna or silence is not just about not communicating or not talking. Silence or the Mauna is all about bringing the mind into the zone where the mind is totally thoughtless. The mind which is in a compulsive thinking order, or should I say disorder. It's a compulsive commentary happening in the mind. The mind is always jumping in projections of the future, and the mind which is always relishing the past events, good or bad. If you can sever the past and the future thinking from the mind, only then you can go into the true silence. There are people, even in this ashram, they say, oh, I want to go to in Mauna. Okay, go in Mauna. Then they are so in so-called Mauna. But the true Mauna is not actually happening until the mind is silent. If mind is not silent, then the silence is not there. Now, to bring silence in the mind, one needs to have the acute attentiveness about how the mind works, what your eyes are looking at, and what it is looking for. And why is it looking? I was just reading a small story. A disciple goes to the master and says, oh master, I am not progressing in my sadhana at all. What should I do? Help me. Master said, did you see the sunrise in the morning, the spectacular sunrise? The disciple said, yes, I have seen that. And while coming here, did you see all those beautiful flowers blooming in the trees? The disciple said, yes, I did watch that. Master said, did you see those drippings from the water pots? And how nicely they were like string of pearls. The huge pot in the monastery. Did you see that? Disciple said, yes, I watched it, Master. Master raised his eyebrows, clenched his teeth a bit, and said, because you are busy watching all this nonsense, that's why the meditation is not happening. That's why the progress is not happening. I now just wonder, this poor guy was just watching the sun and the flowers and the big water pot. And Master is saying this is all nonsense. So this nonsense is stopping you from progressing in your sadhana. And now look in your own mind. What is your mind thinking about whole day? And looking and hearing and touching and eating and smelling and going to this place, going to that place. And then you say, oh, I am not progressing in my dhyana. Well, so much of nonsense is happening. So a period of silence which has a depth. A period of silence means where you curtail your senses from doing unnecessary seeing or hearing or talking or eating, or it's like totally regimentation of all the five senses. It's not about just tongue. It's very easy not to talk, but more difficult to regiment your eyes, regiment your ears. Your ears are always hungry of listening about gossip, political, economical, social, somebody's family, somebody's affairs, who ran with whom, who is having affair with whom, what are political parties doing, this and that. Your ears are filled with all this nonsense. And whatever you listen, see, hear, touch, smell, taste, all the info is going in your subconscious, and this is like fodder for the mind to think more and more and more and more. These days, the actual life is less happening. So I ate this cake, I had this coffee, I went in this park, I did this bungee jump, I did this paragliding, I went in this party, I went to this market, I went to this monument, and then photographing and then just putting it there, and people are watching what you did and you are watching what others did. And then you say, I am not progressing in my sadhana. Which way would you progress? I am not saying killing your senses is required. But I am saying you use your senses very wisely. For example, let me say, this is winter time, and in winter, the hunger is more in the daytime. By evening, as the cold increases, your hunger actually decreases, should decrease. But at this time, meaning the supper time in between, say 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., when normally many people eat their dinners. So when they look at food, and especially if they are in a restaurant or hotel or in friends' party, or maybe where food is free, wherever, they eat like a pig. And they drink like anything. And they totally forgot that with this full stomach, they cannot sleep properly. One of the great acupuncturists actually have said this, that the reason for cancer happening to people is because they have too much of undigested food circulating, meaning the residuals of that undigested food, which is called an ama in Ayurveda and toxin in English, I would say. So these very toxins become reason for the cancer to happen. So the digestion is poor, but people eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. So like digestion, people use their mind more, and then they have so much of undigested info in their subconscious and in the conscious mind, and then they want to sit and om, and hundreds of ideas and thoughts are popping up in the head. And, I cannot focus. Well, you are ruining your own mind. So using your senses, meaning again back to my analogy, you are at a place where the food is free or cheap or whatsoever, but you still eat less. Because dinner should be like a pauper eating, poor person eating. Eat very less. Not filling your belly totally. Eating light, easy to digest, nutritious food, hot food. In winters, never eating cold sandwiches, never eating cold salads. And Europe and US, I have especially seen people eat only salad in the dinner time. And then this all cold food is going to bring their digestive fires down, and that is going to bring so much of coldness in the system. They'll be having blocked sinuses, they'll be having headaches, they'll be having migraines, they'll be having indigestion, flatulence, they'll be having constipation, they'll be having skin troubles, and in period of time, few years down the line, they'll be having tumors, they'll be having cancers. And they just enjoyed the free food, that's it. So we need to use our senses in a very gracious way, very sensible way, very wise way, very intelligent. That's why I stress so much on food. And it's not the food which you eat through your mouth, it is the food which goes in through your eyes, through your nose, through your ears, through your touch. This all is like a fodder for the mind. The more fodder, the more thinking will happen. See, if you are, say, 4 people in a family, then you have 4 lives to think about. If you have 100 friends, then you have 100 plus 4 people's life to think about. And you have another 50 colleagues, so now you have 154 lives to think about. And then you follow a party, political party, 100 more. Because all their activities and speeches and stupid statements which the politicians keep on giving and all that hatred which flies in the air. So is your thinking increasing or decreasing? Now you want to do silence? Stojanovic? You will have to do a lot. A lot has to be done. You cannot just, okay, I am in silence. Some people put the stickers on their, clothing, which says, I am in silence, don't talk to me. Maybe it's a good practical thing. But is your mind silent? And if the mind is silent, then the silence has not happened. And until the real silence happens in the mind, in Vedanta we say, only a silent mind is eligible to listen to this higher knowledge. If your mind is distracted and in anxiety and is broken and in disarray and is disorganized, if you come to me to listen to Vedanta, you won't get even an iota of wisdom which I am giving. So Mauna gives you the eligibility to understand and digest the wisdom. So it becomes very important. Yes, everybody has to work, make money, run the household, but then you can always have few gaps, like for a week, maybe for 15 days, and you stay at one place, you eat very less, maybe just twice, like we do in this ashram, just twice we eat. We don't keep on eating whole day, and then no snacking in between. We are saving our time. Time is precious. Well, Vaishnavas call it time is money, but I say no, time is precious. That is enough. You don't have to bring dirty money into it. We use our time properly. So those small, maybe a week long or maybe 10 days long silence, meaning silence of all the senses, and training the mind to be attentive and aware and conscious. This gives you a good ability and eligibility for listening the Brahma Vidya, the higher knowledge.